Burger King is an American multinational chain of hamburger food restaurants headquartered in Miami-Dade, Florida. The company was founded in 1953 as a Insta Burger, a Jacksonville, Florida based restaurant chain. After Insta Burgers ran into financial difficulties in 1953, its two Miami-based franchises purchased the company and they named it Burger King. After the next half-century, the company changed hands over 4 times, with a third of its sets owned partnership taking Brazil acquired a majority stake of the company in a deal value as US 3.2 billion. Who the fuck wrote this? And why do they have to make it so difficult to read? Right, okay. 1970s were the golden age of the company's advertising, but beginning the early 1980s, Burger King advertising began to lose focus. A series of less successful advertising campaigns created a procession of advertising agencies continued for the next 2 decades. In 2003, Burger King hired the Miami-based advertising agency CRISPR Porter plus Borowski, which completely reorganized its advertising, and a series of new campaigns centered around the redesigning of Burger King's characters Nick the King, accompanying by a new online presence, which was highly successful. Some of the CP plus B's commercials were deroged perverse sexism or cultural intensivity. Burger King's new owner, 3G Capital, later terminated the relationship between CB plus P. 2011, it moved its advertising to McGarry Bowen to begin new products-orientated campaign with expanded demographic targeting. Burger King's menu has expanded from the basic offerings of burgers, french fries, sodas, and milkshakes to a larger, more diverse set of products. In 1957, the Whopper became the first major addition to the menu. It became Burger King's signature product, since conversely Burger King has introduced many products which failed to catch hold in the market. Some of the failures in the United States have seen successes in foreign markets, while Burger King has also tailored its menu and regional taste from 2011 to 2010. Burger King has aggressively targeted 18 to 34-year-old male demographics with larger products that often carry the correspondingly large amounts of unhealthy fats and trans fats. This tactic would eventually damage the company's financial underpinnings and cast a negative toll on its earnings. Beginning of 2011, the company began to move away from its previously male-orientated menu and introduce new menu items, products, reformulations, and packaging as part of its current owner's 3G Capital's restructuring plans of the company. As of December 31st, 2018, Burger King reported it had 17,796 outlets in 100 countries. Of these, nearly half of them located in the United States, and 99.7% are privately owned and operated, within the owners moving its almost entirely franchise modeled in 2013. Burger King has historically used several variations of the franchising to expand its operations. The manner in which these companies license its franchises varies depending on the region. Some of the regional franchises, known as master franchises, responsible for selling franchise sub-licenses, are on the company's behalf. Burger King's relationship with the franchise has not always been harmonious. Occasional spats between the two have caused numerous issues. In several instances, the company and its licenses relation and degeneration into present settling court cases. Burger King's Australian franchise, Hungry Jack's, is the only franchise to operate under a different name due to trademark dispute and a legal case between the two. History. The predecessor to Burger King was founded in 1953 in Jacksonville, Florida, an Instaburger after visiting McDonald's brother original store located in San Bernardino, California. The founder of the owner, Keith J. Kramer, and his wife, Matthew Burns, who had previously purchased the rights to 2 pieces of equipment called Insta machines, opened their first restaurant. Their production model was based on the machines they had acquired and called the Insta Broiler. This strategy has proven to be successful, that they later acquired their franchises to this device. After the company faltered in 1959, it was purchased by its Miami, Florida franchise, James McLaumore and David R. Egerton. They initiated a corporate restructuration of the chain, first renaming the company Burger King. They then ran the company independently for 8 years, eventually expanding to over 250 locations in the United States, before selling it to the Pillsbury Company in 1967. Pillsbury's management tried over several times to reconstruct the Burger King during the late 1970s and early 1980s. The most prominent change in the name came in 1978 when the Burger King hired McDonald's exclusive Donald R. N. Smith to revamp the company. Its plan, called Operation Phoenix, Smith restructured the co-op business practices. All the changes, including updating former franchise agreements, a broader menu, and a new standardized design. Smith left Burger King PepsiCo 1980, shortly before a wide system decline in sales. Pillsbury Executive Vice President of the restaurant opening, Norman E. Brinker, was tasked with taking the brand along and strengthening its position against the main rival, McDonald's. One of the initials was an advertising campaign featuring a series of attack ads against its major competitors. This campaign started a competitive period between Burger King and McDonald's and the top burger chains known as the Burger Wars. Brinker left Burger King in 1984 to take over Dallas-based gourmet burger chains Chili's. Wait, I know what that is. Anyway, Smith and Brinker efforts were initially effective, but after this Pillsbury relaxed in their changes and scaled back on constructions of a new location. These actions stalled corporate growth and scaled decline again, eventually resulting in a damaging fiscal slur for the Burger King and Pillsbury. Poor operations and ineffective leadership continued to bog down the company for many years. Pillsbury was eventually acquired by the British entertainment conglomerate. How can I read that word, but I can't read that? Initially, Grand Met attempted to bring the chain profitability under nearly Barry Gibbons. The changes he initially had to assets in an attempt to profit staff members. After Gibbons' departure, a series of CEOs tried to repair the company's brand by changing the name, bringing its ad agencies to others. The parent's disregard of the Burger King continues. The Grand Metropolitan Guinness, 1997. Two organizations formed the holding companies Tigero. Eventually, the ongoing systematic institutional neglect of the brand through a string owners damaged the company to a point where major franchises were driven out of the business and its total value was significantly decreased. Diego eventually decided to divest itself to the money-losing chain and put the company up for sale in 2000. The 21st century saw the company return to its independence, and when it saw and purchased from Diego by a group of investment firms led by the TPG Capital for the US of $1.5 billion in 2002. The new owners rapidly moved to the devastating reorganization of the company, accumulating the company begin to take in public 2006 was a highly successful initial public offering. The firm's strategy for changing the chain around a rampant menu strategy, a series of programs designed a rampant individual story, a restaurant concept called the BK Whopper Bar, and the new design format called 2020. These changes successfully re-energized the company, leading to a score of profitable quarters. Yet, despite the success of the new owners, the effect of the financial crisis of 2007 to 2010 weakened the company's financial outlook, while those of its intimate competitor McDonald's grew. The falling value of the Burger King eventually led to TPG and its partners divesting their interest in the chain in a US $3.26 billion sale to the 3G Capital of Brazil. Analytics formed financial firms UBS and agreed that the 3G would help reverse its fortunes. These deals were complete. The company's stocks were removed from the New York Stock Exchange, ending a 4-year period in the public company. The delisting of its stocks was redesigned to help the company repair its Ohio-based Wendy's. The decline in the result of the 11 consecutive quarters at the same sales declined. I'm going to skip to the end of the history because, yeah. Structure and operations. Burger King's holidays in the part of the company of the Burger King, also known as Burger King Corporation Abrahevedic BKC, and the Delaware Corporations formed in 23rd of July 2002. A subsidiary it derives incomplete several sources, including property rental and sales through a company-owned restaurant. However, a subtendental portion of the revenue is dependent on franchise fees. During the traditional period of the acquisition of the company, 3G Capital Burger King board of directors was co-chaired by John W. Chisty, former CEO and chairman of the company, and Alex Burring, manager of the partner 3G Capital. By 2011, the ownership completed the restructuring of Burger King's corporate management, and Chisty tendering his resignation and leaving behind the CEO of the chair. The company operations approximately 40 subsidiaries globally, offering franchise operations, acquisitions of financial obligations, and pensions. One example of the subsidiary is Burger King's brand Inc. Full stop, which is responsible for the management of the Burger King's intellectual properties. A wholly owned subsidiary established in 1990, the Burger King's brand owns and manages all trademark, copyrights, and domain names used by the restaurant in the United States and Canada. It also is responsible for provoking the market and relating services to the parent company. In 2011, the majority of Burger King's restaurants, approximately 90%, were privately held franchised. In North America, Burger King Corporations is responsible for licensing, operating, and administrating of stores. Internationally, the company often pairs with its parties' operations, or it will outright sell the operation and administrate rights to a franchise, which is given the designation of master franchise for the territory. The master franchise will then expect to sub-license new stores, providing training support and ensure operational standards are maintained in exchange for the oversight responsibilities. The master franchise will receive the administrative and advertising support from Burger King Corporation to ensure common marketing scheme. The 3G Capital ownership ground announced in 2011 that it would be divesting itself of many corporate-owned locations, with its intent to increase the number of privately held restaurants to 95% as of 2016. The percentage of privately owned Burger King's establishments grew to 99.5%. As the franchisor of the brand, Burger King holding several obligations and responsibilities. The company designs and deploys a corporate training system while overseeing brand standards such as building design and appearance. The company also develops new products and deploys them after presenting them into its franchise for approval per a 2010 agreement between itself and the franchise ownership groups. Burger King has limited approval over franchise operations, such as minimizing hours of operation and promoting promotional pricing. Additionally, Burger King designates approved vendors and distributors while ensuring safety standards at the production facilities of its vendors. Burger King has its headquarters in a 9-story office tower in the Miami International Airport, in an unincorporated Miami-Dade County, Florida. Elaine Walker of the head Burger King signed that the sales of the State Road 836 can't miss. In addition, the chain planned a big neon sign on the roof advertising the brand to the passengers landing at the airport. On Monday, July 8th, 2002, 130 employees began working at the Burger King headquarters with the King stayed. In 2014, the future of the company's Miami headquarters was again in doubt of the reporters surfaced the Burger King in which the Canadian restaurant Tim Hortons, which a review of the relocating of Canada. What? Oh, it's Canada, where the corporate tax rates were low. Lovely. Tax evasion, love that. The merger between Burger King and Tim Hortons created a fast food company known as the Restaurant Brands International Incorporated. The company's previous headquarters were Southern Dade County campus, located at the Old Cutter Boulevard in the Cutler census-designated place. The former Burger King headquarters, as of 2007, houses rental offices with several companies. Franchises. How much is that? Oh God. Okay. When Burger King corporations began franchising in 1959, its also other regional models with franchises purchased the right to open the stores with its geographic region. These franchises agreements, ignore stomping, These franchise agreements granted the BKC very little oversight control over the franchise and results of its issue of product quality control, store image and design, and operational procedures. During the 1970s, structural deficiencies in the Burger King franchise system became increasingly problematic for Pillsbury. A major example was the relationship between Burger King and Louisiana-based franchises Charthouse. Burger King's largest franchise group at the time, with over 350 locations in the United States, the company's owner William and James Trotter made several moves to take or acquire Burger King during the 1970s, all of which was spurned by the Pillsbury after their failed attempt to acquire the company. The relationship between Charthouse and the Burger King source eventually devoured into a lawsuit. Charthouse eventually spun off its Burger King operation in the 1980s into a holding company with Adaptivity Food, which in turn was acquired by Pillsbury in 1984 and absorbed into the Burger King operations. As a part of the franchising reorganization segments of the Operation Phoenix, Donald N. Smith initiated a restructuring of the future franchise agreement. Under the new franchise agreement, new owners were disallowed from living one or more than 1 hours from their restaurant, restricting them to smaller individuals or ownership groups, and preventing large multi-scale corporations from owning franchises. Franchises were now prohibited from the operations other than chains, preventing them from diverting funds away from their Burger King holdings. The new policy effectively limited the size of franchises and preventing larger franchises from challenging Burger King's corporations as Charthouse had. Smith had also sought to the BKC be the primary owner of the new locations and rent or lease their restaurants to its franchises. This policy would allow the company to take over the operations of the failing stores or evict the owners who would not conform to the company guidelines and policies. By 1988, parent company Pillsbury had related many... Fuck off screen, please turn back on. There we go. The new policy effectively limited the size of the franchises and prevented larger franchises from challenging the Burger. I've already read this. By 2001, and nearly 18 years of the stagnant growth, the state of its franchises was being affected due to the value of the company. One of the franchises most heavily affected by the lack of growth in nearly 400 stores, Burgerking Incorporated, one of the largest Burger King franchises by 2002. The franchise owner, which this point had been struggling under nearly US $300 million debt load, had been shredding stores across the US and was forced to enter Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The failure of the American deeply affected the value of the Burger King and put negotiations between Diego and TCP Capital-led House on hold. The development eventually forced Diego to lower the total selling price of the chain by almost $750 million. After the sale, a new appointed CEO, Brand Pillar, initiated a program to help roughly 20% of its franchises, including its four largest who were in financial distress, bankruptcy, or had ceased operations altogether. Partnering with the California-based Trinity Capital LLC, the company established the Franchise Financial Reconstruction Initiative, a program to address the financial issues in BK's financially distressed franchise. Who the fuck wrote this? The initial was designed to access franchisees, that's spelt wrong, in reconstructing their businesses to financial obligations, focus on the restaurant operations of excellence, reinvest in the operations and return to profitability. Individual franchises took the advantage of the American failure. One of BK's regional owners, Miami-based Al Cabra, purchased 130 stores located primarily in Chicago and the upper Midwest region from the failed company for a price of $16 million, approximately 88% of their original value. The new company, which started out as a core value partners, eventually became Heartland Foods. Also purchased 120 stores from distressed owners and Rampant. The resulting purchases became Cabra's last minority franchises of Burger King. The Heartland, one of the company's top franchises. By 2006, the company was valued at over $150 million and was sold to New York-based GSO Capital Partners. The other purchases included a three-way go of the NFL athletes, Kevin Falk, Marcus Elaine, Michael Strahan, who collectively purchased 17 stores in the city of Norfolk and Richmond, Virginia, Cincinnati-based franchises. Dave Doney, who purchased 32 American stores after investing in new decor, equipment, and staff retraining. Many of the new formerly failing stores showed growth approximately 20%. As part of the 3G's reconstructing plan, the company decided to divest itself in a corporate-owned location by refranchising the privately owned and became a 100% franchise operation by the end of 2013. The product, which began in 2012, saw the complete company divest corporate-owned locations in Florida, Canada, Spain, Germany, and other regions. The move gave the company Q3 2013 profit of US $68.2 million over the same quarter of 2012 with $6.6 million US. Locations in Florida, Canada, Spain, Germany, and other regions. The move gave the company Q3 2013 profit of $68.2 million US over the same quarter of 2012, $6.6 million US. As part of the G3 reconstruction plan, the company decided to divest itself in a corporate-owned location. I've just read this 3 times. At the end of 2013 fiscal year, Burger King was the second largest chain of hamburger in the fast food restaurants in the terms of global localization. Behind the industry's bellwether McDonald's, which had 32,400 locations at the end of 2014, Burger King ranked 4th among us food chain in terms of US sales. Behind the McDonald's, Starbucks, Subway, Burger King now had 12,000 stores worldwide. International operations. While BK began its foray into locations outside the continental United States, in 1963 the store of San Juan, Puerto Rico, it did not have international presence until several years later. Shortly after the acquisition of the chain by Pillsbury, it opened its first Canadian restaurant in Windsor, Ontario, 1969. After the international location, soon after Oceania in 1971, the European 1975 with a restaurant in Madrid, Spain. Beginning in 1982, BK and its franchises began operating stores in several Eastern Asian countries, including Japan, Taiwan, Singapore, and South Korea. Due to the high competition of all these Japanese locations, they were closed in 2001. However, BK re-entered the Japanese market in 2007. BK's Central and South American operations began in Mexico in the late 1970s, and by the early 1980s, Corsican, Venezuelan, Chile's, Buenos Aires, Argentina, while these Burger King lags behind the McDonald's and international locations by over 12,000 stores of 2008. It managed to become the largest chain in several countries, including Mexico and Spain. The company divides its international operations into 3 segments: Middle East, European, and African division, Asian, Pacific, and Latin American and Caribbean. In each of these regions, Burger King had established several subsidiaries to develop a strategic partnership and alliance to expand these into new territories. In the EMA group, Burger King Switzerland-based subsidiary Burger King Europe GmbH is responsible for the licensing and development of BK's franchise in those regions. In the APAC, the Singapore-based ABK Asian Pac Ltd business unit habit franchising for Eastern Asia and Asian subcontinents in all the oceanic territories. The LAC regions, including Mexico, Central and Southern American and Caribbean islands, had no centralized operations group. Australia is the only country in Burger King that does not operate under its own name, where the company set about establishing the operations in 1971 and found that in the business's name it was already trademarked as Takeaway Food Shop in Adelaide. As a result, Burger King provided the Australian franchise Jack Cohen as the list of possibilities alternate names deceived from pre-existing trademarks already registered by the Burger King and its corporative parent Pillsbury. This could be used in the name the Australian restaurant. Cohen selected the Hungry Jack brand name of the Pillsbury US pan-making mixture and slightly changed the name to the possessive form of apostrophes, forming the new name Hungry Jacks. After the experimentation of the trademark in the late 1990s, Burger King unsuccessfully tried to introduce the brand to its content. After losing a lawsuit filed against by its Hungry Jack ownership, the company ceded the territory to its franchise. Hungry Jack's is now the only Burger King brand in Australia. Cohen's company, Hungry Jack Pty Ltd, is the master franchise and thus is now responsible for the overseeing and operations within that country. Over the 10-year period, starting in 2008, Burger King predicted 80% of its market share would be driven by foreign expansion, particularly in Asian Pacific and Indian subcontinent regional markets, while the TPG-led groups continued BK's international expansion and announcing plans to open new franchise locations in Eastern Europe, Africa, and Middle East. In Brazil, the company is planned to focus on the three largest markets, India, China, and Japan. The company plans to lead over 250 stores in the Asian territories, as well as other places in Maku by the end of 2012. Its expansion into the Indian market is also the company and its competitive disadvantage with other fast food countries such as KFC, because the aversion of the country's large Hindu majority to beef. BK hopes to use their non-beef products such as tender crisp and grilled chicken sandwiches, as well as other products like mutton sandwiches and veggie sandwiches to help them overcome their hurdle to expansion in that country. 3G has also reported that it will continue to use the plan to grow globally, even ramping up to the planned expansion to help increase their returns of investment. It is as expected 3G Brazilian base management connection into the regions may help Burger King expand in Brazil, Latin America, and these are problems finding acceptable franchises. In December 2020, Burger King's India went for an international public offering IPO as the BSE and NSE in India. The IPO was subscribed over 150 times. Okay, controversies and legal cases. Burger King has been involved in several legal disputes and cases as both plaintiff and defendant. In the years, it is found that 1954, the dependent of the ownership and executive staff at the time of these incidents, the company's responses to these challenges have ranged from a controversial dialogue with companies responsible for these various issues have drawn the praise, as well as accusing of political appeasement from the different parties over the years. A trademark dispute involving the own country's identical name Burger King in Mattoon, Illinois, led to the federal lawsuit. The case outcome defined the scope of Lanham trademark United Trademarks shops by the name of the South Australian forcing the company to change its name in Australia, while these other state trademarks in Texas forced the company to abandon its signature product, the Whopper, in several countries around San Antonio. The company were only able to enter North Alberta and in Canada in 1995, and it paid for the founders of another chain named Burger King. Legal decisions from other lawsuits have set controversial law proceedings in regards to long-arm statutes, the limitation of franchises agreement, ethical business. Many of these decisions have been helped define general business dealings that continue to shape the entire marketplace. The controversies and disputes that have arisen with groups of people in the ethical treatment of animals, PETA, the government and social agencies, and the union of trade groups of various topics. These situations have touched legal and moral concepts such as animal rights, corporate responsibility, ethics, and social justice. While the majority of disputes have not resulted in lawsuits, many of the cases, the situations raise legal questions, such as legal competence, or result in legal remedies, such as changes in contract, procedural, or binding agreements with the parties. The resolutions of these legal matters have often altered the way the company interacts and negotiates with its suppliers and franchises, or how does the business with the public. Further controversies have occurred during the company's expansion in the Middle East. The opening in the Burger King in the Mahalam Adjumin, an Israeli settlement in the Israel-occupied Palestinian territories, led to a breach in the contract dispute between Burger King and its Israeli franchises due to the hotly contested international dispute of the legality of Israeli settlements in the Palestinian territory in accordance to international law. The controversy eventually erupted into geopolitical dispute involving Muslim and Jewish groups on a Wait, so they were fighting over Burger King? Over the applications and adherence of the international law. These cases eventually elicited reactions from the member of the 22-nation Arab League, and the Islamic countries with the League made joint threat to the company of legal sanctions, including the revocation of the Burger King's business license within the member states' territories. A relative issue involving the members of the Islamic faith over the interpretation of the Muslim version of canon law Sharia regarding the promotional artwork on a dessert package in the United Kingdom raised issues of cultural sensitivity, and with former examples posed a larger question about the lengths that companies must go to ensure that the smooth operation of their business and communities they serve. On April 9th, 2019, National Restaurants News reported that Burger King had filed a lawsuit on Fritz Management LLC to remove Burger King's trademark from 37 units in South Texas after unsanitary conditions were found in the restaurant. Harlingen, Texas, in May 2019, the lawsuit was settled with the franchise Fritz Management, a subsidiary of Sun Holdings Incorporated, keeping the trademarks on all 37 units. On November 1919, a lawsuit was filed by a vegan from Atlas, Georgia, against Burger King's for allegedly selling Impossible Whopper burgers that were heated on the same grill as their beef burgers. Charitable contributions and services. Burger King has two of its in-own-house national charitabilities, organizations and pronouns. One, Have It Your Way Foundation, a US-based non-profit corporation with multiple focuses on hunger elevation, disease prevention, and community education for the scholarship programs of colleges in the US. The charitability organizations in the McLaughlin Foundation are a non-profit. I've already read that. In various regions across the United States, Burger King and its franchises also align themselves with several charitable organizations to support research and treatment of juvenile cancer. Each year, these coalitions hold a fundraising drive called A Chance for Kids, in which Burger King restaurants sell lottery-style scratch cards for $1 each. Each card produces a winning prize that is usually food or beverage product, including rarer items such as shopping sprees or trips in Northeast BK. Has affiliated itself with the Major League Baseball and Boston Red Sox, and is a charitable foundation for the Jimmy Fund. The group runs its content in Boston and the United States area, and its operations are content in the association of the Burger King charities in the Metro New York and New York Yankees funds against these areas to support the Dana-Farber Cancer Institution located in Boston. In Nebraska, the company is affiliated with the Lizzie's Legacy Cancer Fund, BK Beats Cancer for Kids program, and the UNMC Epley Cancer Center in the University of Nebraska Medical Center in Oklahoma. Oma. No, just Oma, no Oklahoma. In the Pittsburgh region, it funded the establishment of Burger King's Cancer Caring Center, a support organization of the families and friends of cancer patients. Products. While the predecessors of Burger King's opened in Jacksonville in 1953, its menu consisted of predominantly basic hamburgers, french fries, soft drinks, and milkshakes and desserts. After being acquired by its Miami, Florida, and franchise and renamed to its current Monkiller in 1954, the BK began expanding its breadth into its menu, adding the Whopper sandwich in 1957. This quarter-pound, 4-ounce, 110-gram burger was created by Burger King's new owners, James McLemore and David Egerton, as a way to differentiate BK from other burger outlets at the time. Since its interpretation, the Whopper has become as synonymous with the Burger King and has also often become the focus of much of its advertising. The company has even named its new kiosk-style restaurant Whopper Bars. The menu component of Donald Smith's Operation Phoenix was initiated in 1978 and led to the addition of the Burger King specialty sandwich in 1979. The new product line significantly expanded on the breadth of the BK menu and many non-hamburger sandwiches, including new chicken and fish offerings. The new Specularity sandwich line was one of the first attempts to target a specific demographic, in this case the 18 to 34, who are willing to spend more on higher quality products. One of the Smiths' other significant contributions to the menu was the addition of the breakfast product line, at which this time was not a market the Burger King has entered. Besides the addition of the cross sandwich, in 1983 the breakfast menu remained almost identical to the McDonald's offering until a menu revamp in 1985. This expansion introduced the BK's Am Express product line, which new products such as French toast sticks and mini muffins. As the company expanded both inside and outside the US, it introduced a localized version of its products and conformed to regional tastes and cultural or religious beliefs. International variations add ingredients such as teriyaki or beetroot and fried egg to the Whopper. Beer in Germany, Italy, Spain, and halal or kosher products in the Middle East and Israel. To generate additional sales, BK will occasionally introduce the limited time offers (LTOs) that are its version of its core product, with the new product intending for either long-term or short-term sales, including Texas Double Whopper and various sandwiches with mushrooms and Swiss cheese that have been rotated in and out and off its menu for many years. While products such as this in the 1993 Meatloaf Specialty Sandwich, offering and accompanying the limited table service, along with the special dinner platter, failed to generate interest and were discontinued. In order to appeal to many demographic groups as possible, with their competitor Wendy's, Burger King added a multi-tier value menu. In 1993, the item price was at 99 cents US, $1.99 US, and $2.99. The addition of the part of the CEO James Amsden back to basic programs, also called Operation Phoenix, were attempted to add not a value menu but the line of value menus. The tiered menu and replaced with a more standard menu in 1998, where the value meals were separated into their own menu segments. This value menu featured seven products: Whopper JR 5-piece chicken tenders, a bacon cheeseburger, a medium-sized French fries, medium soft drink, medium onion rings, and small shakes. In 2002, BK revamped its value menu, adding to the removing of several different products such as Chili's and Rodeo cheeseburgers. Many of these items have since been discontinued, modified, or regulated to a regional menu option. To its enormous omelette cheese sandwich line and the BK Stacker line brought negative attention to the larger portion size and amounts of unhealthy fats and trans fats. Many of these products feature higher quality ingredients like whole chicken breast, Angus beef, and natural cheese such as cheddar and pepper jack. Again, not all these products such as the BK baguette lines have met corporate sales expectations. With the purchase of the company in 2010, 3G began a program to restructure its menu, designing to move away from the male-orientated menu that dominated under the previous ownership. The first major item to be introduced was a reformulation of its BK chicken tenders production in March 2011. Over the first few months, approximately 20 new products were reassigned and researched and developed, while others were reformulated, including the Chef's Choice Burger. Eventually pruned down to 10 items, Burger King began deploying its items to the United States over 2011 and 2012, while the official rollout began in April 2012. These changes included a new ice cream product, smoothies, frappes, chicken strips. The Whopper was the most prominent reformulation product of this round introduction, a new type of cheese and packing. At the end of 2015, Burger King's parent company, Restaurant Brands International, announced that none of its subsidiaries would use chicken that had not been fed antibiotics and that are critically important to human health. The announcements referring to only a small class of antibiotics, which there is only one drug that kills any kind of bacteria, and the announcements and describes as a small step by advocating for all stopping antibiotics use in livestock. In 2019, Burger King released an Impossible Whopper burger, a vegetarian burger used a plant-based patty from Impossible Foods. In 2020, Burger King announced that it will be removing artificial preservatives and colors and flavors from the Whopper by the ending of 2020. In July 2020, Burger King announced that it would begin selling a Whopper patty made from cows on a low methane diet. Equipment. Like its menu, the equipment for the company cooks its hamburgers, which has also evolved from the company expanded. The burgers have always been broiled mechanically. The original unit, called an Insta Broiler, was one of two-piece equipment the founder of Insta Burgers purchased before operating the new restaurant. The Insta Broiler cooked while cooking for 12 burger patties in a wired basket, allowing the patties to be cooked from both sides simultaneously. While McLamore and Egerton took over the company, besides dropping the Insta prefix, they switched to a more improved unit called the Flame Broiler, designed by the two featuring stationary burners and the cooked meat on a moving chain, until they broke down less of the management to simply cooking rate. The company would say that the format of the next 40 years until Burger King began developing its various speed broilers that can handle multiple items with different cooking rates and times. These new items became testing in 1999, eventually evolving into two models. The company deployed system-wide in 2008 to 2009. Accompanying these new broilers was a new food holding equipment accompanying a computer-based product monitoring system for its cooked parts. The monitoring system allowed for more concise tracking of products, while quality was given a company and its franchise method of streamlined costs by precisely projecting sales and product usage. Advertising. Since its foundation in 1954, Burger King has employed various advertising programs, both successful and unsuccessful. During the 1970s, output included "Hold the Pickle, Hold the Lettuce" jingle, the inspiration for its current mascot, the Burger King, and several well-known parody slogans such as "Have it your way" and "Take it two-handed." It takes two hands to handle a Whopper. The Burger King introduced the first attack ad in the fast food industry in the pre-teen Sarah Michelle Gellar in 1981. The television spot, which claimed BK Burgers was larger, better tasting than the competitor McDonald's, so enraged executives at McDonald's parent company that they sued all parties involved. Starting in the early 1980s and running through approximately 2001, BK engaged in a series of ad agencies that produced many successful slogans and programs, including its biggest advertising flop, "Where's Herb?" Burger King was a pioneer, and the advertising practice known as product tie-in was a successful partnership with George Lucas Lucasfilm Ltd. to promote 1977 Star Wars, in which BK sold a set of beverage glasses featuring the main characters from the movie. This promotion was one of the first in the fast food industry and sees a pattern that continues the present. BK's success in the field was overshadowed in 1982 deals between McDonald's and the Walt Disney Company to promote Disney's animated film beginning the mid-1980s and running through the 1990s and 1994. Disney switched from McDonald's to Burger King, signing a 10-movie promotional contract that would include such 10 films as Aladdin 1992, Beauty and the Beast 1991, The Lion King 1994, and Toy Story 1995. A partnership in association with Pokemon franchise at its height of the popularity of 1999, tremendously successful for the company with many locations rapidly selling out the toys and replacements. Shortly after acquisition of the Burger King by TPG Capital LP in 2002, its CEO and Brad Blunham began turning around the fortunes of the company by initiating an overhaul by its flailing advertising program. One of the flat moves of the company was to reinstate its famous "Have it your way" slogan as a corporate motto. BK handed the effort to its new advertising agency, Miami-based Crispin Porter plus Biotsky, abbreviating as CP+B. CP+B was also known for having a hip, subversive track when creating a campaign for its clients, exactly what BK was looking for. One of CPB's strategies was to relieve the Burger King characteristics during the BK's 1970s to 1980s Burger King Kingdom children's advertising campaign as a cardiac variation, now simply The King. The farcical nature of the Burger King centered around the advertisement inspired in the internet meme, where the king is edited into unusual situations that are either comical or menacing, many times following with the phrase, "Where is your God now?" Additionally, CP+B created a series of new characters like the Suburban Chicken and the Forks new metal band Cogger Walker, featured in a series of viral web-based advertising on sites such as MySpace and various BK cooperative places, to complement various television and printed promotional campaigns. One of these successful promotions of the CP+B device was a creation of a series of the three advert games for the Xbox 360, created by the UK-based Billets Games and featured company celebrity spokesperson as Brooke Burke. The game sold more than 3.2 million copies, placing them as one of the top-selling games alongside with another Xbox 360 hit, Gears of War. These ad campaigns, coupled with their new promotion as a series of new product introductions, drew positive and negative attention to BK and helped TPG and its partners realize the $367 million in dividends. In the late 2000s, recessions hit, and the 18 to 35 demographic target of the CP+B created ads particularly hard. The company saw it like a market share decline, and the company moved into the red. After completion of the sales in the company in the late 1910s, the ownership of the group terminated Burger King's 7-year relationship with CP plus B and hired its rival firm McGarry Bowen to create a new campaign and expand its market reach. As part of the new campaign, McGarry Bowen terminated the use of the Burger King in the company's advertising program in favor of a new program that focused on the food and ingredients in its new advertising campaigns. In recent years, Burger King has turned into its trolling fast food rival McDonald's with their advertising strategy. Their company's tactics, including the LOLA model Lowe's, the Scary Clown Night, which offered a free Whopper to anyone dressed as a clown, McDonald's mascot, on Halloween, FCB unwrapping and eating a Whopper. The footage was approved for the use of the fast food giant courtesy in the Andy Warhol Foundation. Meanwhile, prior to the game, the mass market hamburger chain available to the viewers who ordered in advance via DoorDash, an Andy Warhol mystery box, which contained, among other items, in a plastic bottle of ketchup and platinum wig, so anyone can eat like Andy. See also, drive-through Hungry Jack's, the Australian subsidiary for Burger King, list of hamburger restaurants. Hungry Jack's. Hungry Jack's Pty Ltd is an Australian fast food franchise of the Burger King Corporation. It's wholly owned as a subsidiary of the Competitive Foods Australia. It's a privately held company owned by Jack Cohen. Hungry Jack's owns and operates in a sub-license of the Burger King Hungry Jack's restaurant in Australia as the master franchise for the country. The company is responsible for licensing new operations, opening in its stores and performing standards oversight of franchise locations in that country, which over 400 locations across Australia. Hungry Jack's is the second largest franchise of Burger King in the world, second to Carroll's Corporation. Corporative profile. History of Burger King in Australia. When Burger King moved its expansive operation into Australia, it's found that its business name was already taken by a food shop in Adelaide, South Australia. As a result, Burger King provided the Australian franchise Jack Cohen with a list of possible alternative names derived from the pre-existing trademark already registered by Burger King. And then the corporative parent, Pillsbury, used the apostrophe S to form the new name Hungry Jack's. The first Australian franchise of Burger King Corporation was established in Orlando, Perth, in 18th of April 1971 under the auspice of Cohen's new company Hungry Jack's Pty Ltd. By the end of the first decade of operation, Hungry Jack's had expanded to 26 stores in 3 states in October 1981. The company opened its first New South Wales store in the Sydney Central Business District and the corner of the Liverpool and George Street in 1986. The chain entered Victoria by purchasing 11 stores from the ailing Wendy's hamburger chain, later converting them into Hungry Jack's. 1996 to 2001 legal proceedings. In 1991, Hungry Jack's Pty Ltd. Renewed its franchise agreement with Burger King Corporation, which allowed the Hungry Jack's license to license a third-party franchise. However, one of the conditions to the agreement was that Hungry Jack's was to open a certain number of stores every year for the term of the contract. In 1996, shortly after the Australian trademark of the Burger King name lapsed, Burger King Corporation made a claim that Hungry Jack's had violated the conditions of the renewed franchise agreement by failing to expand the chain at a rate defined by the contract, and sought to terminate the agreement under the aegis of this claiming. Burger King Corporation and its partner Shell Australia began to open its own stores in 1997, beginning in Sydney. And although Australia regions of New South Wales, Australia Capital Territory, Victoria and Tasmania. In addition, Burger King also sought to limit HJ's ability to open new locations in countries, whether they were corporate locations or third-party licenses. As a result of Burger King's actions, Hungry Jack's owner Jack Cohen and a company Competitive Food Australia began legal proceedings in 2001 against the Burger King Corporation, claiming Burger King's corporation had violated the conditions of the master franchise agreement and was in breach of the contract. The Supreme Court of New South Wales agreed that the Cohen determination that Burger King had violated of the countries and awarded Hungry Jack's a $46.9 million Australian dollars. In US, that would be 41.6 million in 2001. In this decision, the court said that Burger King has sought to engineer the default franchise agreement so that the company could limit the number of Hungry Jack's branded restaurants and ultimately claimed the Australian market as its own, which was as purpose the extensions to the agreement. The case introduced the American legal concept of good faith negotiations into the legal system, which until the time of the verdict had been rarely used in the Australian court system. 2002 to present. After Burgerking Corporation lost the case, it declined to terminate the operations in the country in July 2002. The company transferred its assets into New Zealand franchise groups Trans-Pacific Foods, TPF. In the terms of the sale, TPF assumed the oversight of the Burger King franchise in the regions of the Burger King master franchise. Trans-Pacific Foods administrated the 81 locations until September of 2003, when the new management of Burger King's corporation reached an agreement with Hungry Jack's PYT Ltd. to rebrand the existing Burger King's location to Hungry Jack's and more Hungry Jack's PYT, the sole master franchise of both brands. In addition to the part of the agreement required Burger King Corporation to provide an administrative and advising support to ensure a common marketing scheme for the company of its products. Trans-Pacific Foods transferred its whole control of the Burger King franchise to the Hungry Jack's PYT Ltd, which subsequently renamed the remaining Burger King location as Hungry Jack's, joining the other 210 outlets at the time. Many new Hungry Jack restaurants in 1950s theme music from this era might be played in the restaurant occasionally, in a 50s style jukebox with association contemporary pictures and memorabilia utilized as part of the decor. In the larger sit-downs of the style restaurant, the seats and tables were laid out in 1950s dinner style. In 2009 to 2010 financial year, Competitive Foods Australia reported after a tax profit of $3.2 million on a sale of $1.043 billion. Products. The only Burger King trademark that are sold at Hungry Jack's are the Whoppers and the Tender Crisp and Tender Grill sandwiches. All the other products go by more generic names as Hamburger, Veggie Burger, or Grilled Chicken Burger. Hungry Jack's breakfast menu, introduced in the late 2005s in 3 states, Queensland, Western Australia, and Northern Territory, as the other states of the following years bears little resemblance to Burger King's US breakfast menu. Due to the increase in meat-free alternatives across Australia, Hungry Jack's introduced the Rebel Whopper, a range of partnered with V2 Foods. In late 2019, a large promotional campaign was run, including that with Natalie Tran Creator Community Channel. Advertising. Hungry Jack's in Australia has a trademark with the slogan, "Oh yeah," which has also featured in television commercials in the late 2005 to 2006, while Burger King has updated its logo to the blue crescent design with all the other markets in 1999. The Hungry Jack logo is still based on the previous 1994 revised Burger King bun halved logo, employing the simple bun and filling motif. Hungry Jack's Kids Club. Hungry Jack's Kids Club mascots are unique to the Australian franchise and often in other international locations. The use of 2 existing Burger King Kids mascots. The Burger King Kids Club of the Homebaz Hungry Jack do not have a kids club program similar to the US offering themed birthday parties as a restaurant along with kid club meals. One of the noticeable differences between Hungry Jack's and Burger King's children program is the placement of the apostrophe in the name Hungry Jack's, while Burger King places it after. Sponsorship. Hungry Jack's retains a strong link with Penrith and the city's first team in the Australian Football League in the West Coast Eagles. They sponsored Hungry Jack's since they first entered the league in 1987. On October 5th, 2017, Hungry Jack's became the naming rights sponsor to the National Basketball League. The Hungry Jack's logo is featured on the player jersey in and around the venues, and the company was closely associated with the Heritage Month in January. Also see, KFC, Jack Cohen previously owned in Western Australia and Northern Territory, V2 Foods, Domino Pizzas, Enterprise, massive franchise of the Domino Pizzas in Australia, New Zealand, and several other European countries. Jack Cohen's must trust in the majority financial of the DPE. List of hamburger restaurants. List of restaurants in Australia. Due to the fact that I could probably go on forever if I kept clicking on the look at more, I'm going to finish off with this. Restaurant chains in Australia. This is a dynamic list and may never be able to satisfy particular standards for completeness. You may help by adding missing items with reliable sources. 58C Bakery Cafe, Baker's Delight, Basin Coben Raben, Australia, Bread Top, Brumbley Bakeries, Bucking Bull, Burger Urge, Burger Fuel, Carl's Jr., Chicken Treat, Chili's, Chooks Fresh and Tasty, Chibo Express, The Coffee Club, Cold Round Ice Cranberry, Domino's, The Fast Eddies, Gelato Messina, Gloria Jean's Coffees, Grilled Gomez Y Gomez, Harry's Cafe De Wheels, Hog's Breath Cafe, Hooters, Hudson's Coffee, Hungry Jack's, Jamaica Blue, KFC, Krispy Kreme, Creme? No, that's Krispy Kreme, never mind. Lonely Star Steakhouse and Saloon, Mad Max Flesh Mexican Grill, McDonald's, Michelle's, Michael's, Pazier, Miss Maud, Muffin Break, Muzz Buzz, Nando's, Noodle Box, Oporto, Outback Steakhouse, Pancake Parlor, Pie Face, Pizza Capers, Pizza Haven, Pizza Hut, Pizza Showtime, La Porsche, Red Rooster, Sal's Fresh Mex Grill, Schnids, Shingle Inn, Sizzler, Sparbud, Starbucks, Subway, Sumo Salad, Super Nash Brothers, Taco Bell, Toti's, Uncle Tony's Kebabs, Victoria Coffee, Wendy's Super Sundays, Razaraf Coffee. And that, kids, is how you reliably waste just under an hour of your life reading the entire Burger King... Wait, no! I skipped a bit in history, so I'm going back. In August 2014, 3G announced that it planned to acquire the Canadian restaurant and coffee home Tim Hortons and merge with Burger King in its backing view of the Warner Buffett Berkshire Hathaway. The two chains will retain separate operations post-merger, with Burger King's remaining its Miami headquarters. A Tim Horton representative stated that the proposed merger will allow Tim Hortons to leave Burger King's resources for international growth. The combined company will be with the third largest international chain of the fast food restaurant. The deal led to the controversy over the practiced tax inversion, in which the company decreased the amount of taxes it paid by playing its headquarters to tax haven, a country with lower rates, with maintaining the majority of their operations in the previous location. As a high-profile instance for the tax inversion, news and the merger was criticized with US politicians, who felt that the move would result in loss of tax revenue to the foreign interests and could result in furthermore government pressure against the inversions. Now that is how you waste just under an hour of your life.